8 o'clock.
This is it, guys.
Ready to go, guys? So.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Read to Me. Hi, kids. Hi, moms and dads and random adults. I am Rhetia, also known as Ree or Ree Rosa, and this very handsome gentleman is...
I am Colin Santana, also known as Tana, and we are
Tana's Log.
Tana's Log, for those of you who don't know, for the kiddies, is a blog, which is basically...
Yeah, what's a blog? What's a blog?
It's like an online diary, but I guess what they call it, journals now. Journals, because I really don't know all your young people think. But basically we write about anything under the sun, and people read it and sometimes laugh, sometimes they come and they quarrel with me. But okay. So we're going to get straight into the book.
No, we have some shout-outs.
Sorry. We have some housekeeping items.
Yes.
My bad.
First. Right. Okay, so first of all, we'd like to shout out Kayla Alcala. Happy 11th birthday belated. Hope you had a great time, Kayla. We'd also like to say hi to Leah, James, and Daniel.
Hello.
Leah, James, and Daniel have been looking at Read to Me. They've been tuning in every night since the very beginning. Excellent. I hope the rest of you follow suit. Colin, you have some things to say?
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a very serious public service announcement. I'm going to look at, this is for the parents, I'm going to look at you very Dr. Paris Ramley now. This is a kid-friendly initiative. So please, please, please keep your comments G-rated, right? So that, because the kiddies will read, they're very bright, they will read and they'll see what you have. So don't let me have to get more animated than Dr. Paris Ramley. Okay, let's go.
Okay, we'd also like to apologize in advance if you hear howling, barking, or random banging on any doors. We have 4 dogs, and they're usually inside with us around now, but because we don't want any interruptions, they're very loud and very unruly. We had to keep everybody outside. So if you hear any noise, we apologize in advance for that. So let's get into it. Colin.
Without further ado, all right, so the name of the book is Boysie and the Kiskadee, which is the further adventures of our hero, Boysie. You all remember Boysie saved the ocean from trash a couple of days ago, and now...
The turtles.
Yes, he led back turtles. That's right. So, Boysie and the Kiskadee is set in Trinidad, where there are a lot of pretty Kiskadee birds. We have quite a lot
all day,
in our yard.
Every
they
day.
Fly in, they steal dog chow, and they fly back out. All right?
Yeah.
Kids, do you all know what sound a Kiskadee makes? Yes?
I'm sorry, moms and dads.
No, I can't hear you. It goes, Kiskadee! And I want you to say Kiskadee all night and all day tomorrow. Kiskadee! Kiskadee! All day, okay? All right. So, Mr. Kiskadee has lost his home, which is a nest in a tree, because Mr. Mean Tractor cut it down. So our hero, Boysie, has a huge task to help Mr. Kiskadee find a new home. So, will Boysie help Mr. Kiskadee find a home? Will Mr. Mean Tractor become not mean? Let's see, kids. Let's go.
Okay. Ready? Right. One day, Boysie was walking through the forest when he noticed Mr. Kiskadee was crying.
Why are you crying, Mr. Kiskadee?
Asked Boysie.
I'm crying because Mr. Mean Tractor just destroyed my mango tree. Now I have nowhere to live, so I'm sad.
Replied Mr. Kiskadee.
Don't worry, Mr. Kiskadee. I'll find you a new home where you'll be safe,
said Boysie. That day, Boysie decided to take a walk through the rest of the forest to see if there was another mango tree in which Mr. Kiskadee could live. And that's exactly why we're always surrounded by Kiskadees, because we have mango trees everywhere. All Boysie could see was Mr. Mean Tractor cutting down all the mango trees.
Oh no!
Boysie cried.
I must do something quickly. And here's Mr. Boysie.
And the Kiskadee.
And the Kiskadee. Now, I don't know where in Trinidad Mr. Boysie lives, but he has on a polo and a red jacket, so he's probably sweaty all the time.
This made Boysie very, very sad, and he decided to ask his grandfather how he could help Mr. Kiskadee. Boysie ran home and sat on his grandfather's lap and listened to him as he began to read a story. The story was about a man who planted trees everywhere just to make sure there were enough trees in the world to give people oxygen, to keep the town from flooding, and to be homes for Kiskadees.
How great!
At that moment, Boysie went to the computer to learn how to plant a tree.
This is so simple.
He thought,
I can do this in just one day. Mr. Kiskadee, Mr. Kiskadee!
shouted Boysie.
Where are you, Mr. Kiskadee? I'm right here.
Replied Mr. Kiskadee.
I'm trying to hide from Mr. Mean Tractor. I have good news, Mr. Kiskadee. I'm going to plant more trees so you can have a new home.
Boysie shouted.
All I have to do is dig the dirt, put the tree in, and water it.
So here we have another picture, very well drawn. So this is Boysie. We all remember Boysie in his polo and his red jacket. This is Grandpa. Grandpa has a nice grandpa, smooth little bald head.
Check Grandpa. Top. All right, cool. Here we go, sorry. Thank you for being so helpful, Mr. Boysie,
said Mr. Kiskadee.
Now I can tell my family we have a new home and we can live happily again.
Boysie knelt down on the soil and began to dig with his shovel. He saw a dark cloud in the sky, but thought that it would still be okay to plant his small tree. Boysie stepped back and looked proudly at his tree with a smile on his face. Just then, there was a loud crash of thunder, and the dark cloud in the sky burst open, and the rain came down hard and fast.
No.
Boysie stood in the rain and looked down, only to see his newly planted small tree washed away. Down the hill it went, right before his sad eyes. Boysie and Mr. Kiskadee stood with tears in their eyes.
Watch them. Sad, sad Boysie and Mr. Kiskadee.
Yeah, a lot of rain.
Boysie heard his grandfather calling to him to get out of the rain. Boysie told Mr. Kiskadee goodbye, and the two friends parted sadly. Boysie did not know what to do now. He sat in his garage and looked at the trees all around him and thought of how sad it was that his small tree was washed away.
See, so this is Boysie, and Granddad is calling Boysie.
Yeah, and look at our rain. That look like sick rain, not the kind of rain Boysie's supposed to be playing. And look, Mr. Kiskadee flying away. Friends, huh? Just then, a butterfly perched on a leaf of a medium tree right in front of his eyes. The butterfly's wings fluttered as the sunlight bounced off the colors on his delicate wings. That was it. It was as if the butterfly was trying to tell him something. Instead of planting a small tree, Boysie could plant a medium tree. That way, it would be hard for the rain to wash that down so easily. And here we have Boysie and
the butterfly. Oh, I don't think we reached here yet.
Yeah. No, this is a butterfly. And the chubby butterfly.
Yeah,
butterfly eat all the quarantine snacks.
Kids, don't eat all the quarantine snacks one time, huh?
After a good night's sleep, Boysie woke up early the next morning and ran outside. This time, instead of a small tree, he tugged and pulled and dragged a medium tree right across the land to where he planted his last one. Finally, this brought a big smile to Boysie's face, and soon enough, Mr. Kiskadee flew over to see what the shouts of excitement were all about. Boysie stood proud and presented the new tree to Mr. Kiskadee. While they celebrated, there was a loud engine noise, and then the sight of a big yellow tractor speeding towards the tree. Boysie and Mr. Kiskadee quickly jumped out of the way as Mr. Mean Tractor drove right over the new medium tree. Crash! Down it went in the blink of the eye. This was unbelievable. There was no way Mr. Mean Tractor just did that. What a horrible thing to do. It just seemed hopeless, thought Boysie.
Yeah, Mr. Tractor seems like he's a bully.
Watch.
See, so this is Mr. Mean Tractor. And he's smiling, you know.
He's smiling. That's the most disturbing thing, eh? Mr. Mean Tractor mashing up trees and smiling.
Boysie did not know what to say to Mr. Kiskadee this time, so he just ran away, angry and sad at the same time. He ran straight home and burst through the door into his bedroom. Boysie threw himself on the bed and cried out loud.
Why? Why is this happening?
Just then, Grandpa walked past Boysie's bedroom and heard his cries. He opened the door and pulled Boysie on his lap, trying to calm him. Through his tears, Boysie told Grandpa everything that had happened. First, the story about his small tree getting washed away by the rain, then Mr. Mean Tractor crushing his medium tree. Grandpa listened without saying anything until Boysie's crying stopped. Then Grandpa told Boysie a story about a boy who never gave up on his dream, which was to build a house, hoping someday he would have a wife. That's a good dream, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
In the story, the boy ran out of money, got threatened by others for building in that spot, and even saw what he had built burnt down. At the end of the story, Grandpa told Boysie that he was the boy and the beautiful wife was Grandma. By this time, the tears in Boysie's eyes had dried up and replaced with a look of amazement. He looked at Grandpa with awe.
Was that really you, Grandpa?
Asked Boysie.
Yes, Boysie. And that's why you can't give up on saving the earth. I know you can do it. I believe in you. And kids, we believe in you, so you have to save the earth too. Your parents are a waste. You have to save the earth, kids.
So this is Boysie and Grandpa? Oh, look at Boysie. I feel so sorry for Boysie. He feels defeated. Oh. Boysie's mind was made up. He was going to continue to plant trees to save the earth. Yes. He went outside one last time, and this time there was no butterfly to show him which tree to choose. But the voice of Grandpa was in his head, and that was enough for him. Boysie tugged and pulled at an even bigger tree than the last. He dragged it all by himself to the spot where he planted his other trees and put the roots of the tree in the soil and covered it with dirt. He heard the sound of Mr. Mean Tractor coming closer and closer, but Boysie's eyes were serious, and there was no smile on his face. As Mr. Mean Tractor came up to the tree, Boysie stood in front of the tree and shouted at him.
I am not going to let you destroy the earth. I planted this tree to save the earth, and I am not leaving here until you leave this tree alone.
Boysie's voice was loud and echoed through the land. Mr. Mean Tractor's engine was still loud and scared Boysie a little since he drove closer.
What you are doing is destroying the earth. The land needs trees for birds to live in, to shade people, to hold the soil together, and to prevent flooding when it rains. You are a mean, mean tractor, and I am not going to let you cut this tree down.
Bully. Yeah. See? You're trying to reason with Mr. Tractor, you know, and I still don't understand why Mr. Tractor just smiling.
Because he just bad.
Yeah. As the echo of Boysie's voice rang through the trees, Mr. Kiskadee heard Boysie's voice and called for the rest of the animals to help Boysie. Squad goes, yeah. Soon enough, Boysie and the tree he planted were surrounded by all the animals in the forest. They all stared at Mr. Mean Tractor, saying nothing.
Really to himself, Tractor.
After waiting 5 minutes, Mr. Mean Tractor realized that Boysie and his friends meant business. The tractor's engine stopped and there was silence. The only sound was that of the wind blowing through the trees. Mr. Mean Tractor finally spoke.
Yeah, now boy, I know you're right, Boysie. I didn't want to do this now, boy, but I was just doing what I was told to do now, boy. I'm sorry, Jack. I promise I won't cut down any more trees now, boy. But instead I will help you carry trees around the land and plant it more and more now, boy. I will pause here and just say that was a little license I take. The author didn't put any nah-boys in the book. That was my nah-boys, alright? Okay.
Well, that was all Mr. Mean Tractor could say because Boysie and his animal friends erupted with shouts for joy and excitement.
We did it!
Cried Boysie.
Thank you. From now on, you are no longer Mr. Mean Tractor. You are just Mr. Tractor. Thank you so much.
All the animals started dancing around the tree, and Mr. Tractor and everyone celebrated as finally Boysie won. Ever since that day, Boysie went to the forest to water the tree and visit Mr. Kiskadee. Boysie could hear Mr. Kiskadee and his family singing loudly and happily and saw the beautiful bird's nest they built. That's it. Yeah.
And this is
So yeah, this is, well, he's no longer Mr. Mean Tractor. So this is Happy Friend Tractor. Boysie and ooh, this is a squirrel, a rabbit, a deer. Ooh, look, chubby butterfly.
Now you see,
Mr. Kiskadee.
kids, if you count how many animals there, are they supposed to have more than 5 people there?
They're not social distancing, guys.
This was before COVID.
Right? So we're not doing this right now.
Maybe Boysie could save us from COVID.
Boysie's a hero.
Okay, so that's the end of the story. Boysie saved the forest. Right now, we just wanted to give a little background on the author.
Hi, Rhetia.
Rhetia Rodriguez-Santana. We have her here.
Yeah, Rhetia is here with us. Hi, Rhetia.
She is a special education teacher in Trinidad and Tobago. She comes from a family of teachers, medical representatives, writers, storytellers. It's literacy mixed with logic and charity. She grew up in the hills of Marval, so in the bush like us.
Yeah, we're in the hills of Digomar.
So it gives you an appreciation for nature.
And the Kiskadees.
And the Kiskadees. And the Kiskadee! So kids, remember we said you have to say Kiskadee whole day, tomorrow, whole night, tonight. Okay, we were asked to talk about how we are social distancing. I'm working from home for the last week and until this stay-at-home order continues. I
work from home all the time. So to be honest, nothing has really changed for me other than social distancing when I go to the grocery, because that's all I do now. I go to the grocery once a week. But other than that, it's normal for me.
It's normal for us. I do my pretty much work hours from 8 to 4, and then I go and I do what I always do during the week. I vegetate on the couch and watch TV.
And well, we have our dogs.
Right.
So that's what we're doing. We have to remind everyone, kids, wash your hands. Everybody knows by now how to wash their hands. So we do like this. We do the back. We sing happy birthday 20 seconds in between the fingers, guys. What we also want to remind you all, when we were kids, we were taught to cover our mouths when we cough and sneeze like that. But we no longer do that anymore because we have to keep our hands clean. So, Colin, how are we going to cough and sneeze now?
Into our elbows, like. So, kids, if you want to cough into your ear, that's right? What you do. That's what you do, right?
So, if you still forget and you just happen to cough or sneeze in your hands, remember you just have to wash it over. Keep them clean. If you have hand sanitizer at home, that's really lucky because, I mean, that's a real fancy thing.
So, go ahead.
Yeah.
Before she says this, the comments and views of Rhetia Rodriguez is not the same. Santana is not the same views of myself or Read2Me TT. Go ahead.
All right, guys. So I know we're home. Parents are home. The majority of parents are home. All the kids are home. We're not going to be doing schoolwork 8 hours a day, 6 hours a day. So I'd like you to think about it. Now is an excellent opportunity to foster a pet from TTSPCA. All you have to do is WhatsApp them. The TTSPCA Port of Spain office, the number is 689-7661. There's also a branch in Tobago. You can WhatsApp them or call 639-2567. Let them know you're interested, maybe a week, 2 weeks, or you want to foster a puppy, an adult dog, a kitten. It's excellent for the kids, occupies their time, teaches them a little responsibility, empathy. Animals are great, guys. All kids should have animals. Maybe not this Kiskadee, right?
Kiskadee!
Maybe not this Kiskadee.
Kiskadee!
But if you can convince mommy and daddy, if mommy and daddy you decide, it's a nice family adventure as well. You never know. After you foster, you might want to adopt, which is excellent. Always adopt, don't shop. That's my plug for the night.
All right, that's enough, guys.
Guys, hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed doing this for you all. Please tune in tomorrow night. We have 2 new readers. I'm not sure who they are, but social media tomorrow morning, during the day tomorrow, they both will be announced. A new book, a new local book. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.